On the new tariffs and everything else happening in the swamp this week, Indiana Congressman Marlin Stutzman back on the program. Marlin, nice to see you. How you been, sir?
Hey, doing great. Trump's in the White House and things are happening. So It's good to be back in Washington.
That's putting it mildly. We're 2 months in now, right, to this 2.0, Trump 2.0. And I've said it and I'll say it again. I knew that he was going to be no holds barred. I knew that the gloves were going to come off. I could come up with more analogies. You get my point. I knew that he was going to do things that I wished he would have done in the first term. The tariffs are scaring people because they're listening to the likes of CNN. Inform my viewers how tariffs will work as a bargaining chip to save us money in the long run as consumers and as taxpayers, Marlin.
Yes. No, you're exactly right. And this is where President Trump he understands the context of what's happened here. And this is a reset. And it's going to be a little rocky because all of a sudden when you say, hey, look, we're going to do things a little differently than what we've done before. I'm a business guy. And when you're part of you got an agreement or you have a business relationship with somebody, and all of a sudden you start realizing, hey, this is one-sided. This isn't good for our company, but it sure is benefiting you. We have to sit down and renegotiate. And right at first, of course, they're going to always push back. Look what we did with the Japanese car market. We built the Japanese car industry because they had tariffs on ours going to Japan, and all the cars were coming into the United States for many, many years, decades. And we built the Japanese car industry because over half the cars imported that are purchased in the United States are imported from other countries. And so President Trump is finally saying enough of taking advantage of the United States. We're going to sit down and have a conversation about how we can be strong as well, rather than just empowering and strengthening other economies around the world rather than ours.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, America's been getting ripped off in so many ways for decades. I don't think the American people understand it. And so there's going to be a little bit of pain, right, at the store, at the pump, at the whatever, although the pump's going down and the eggs are going down. But there might be a little pain. But in the long term, this is going to benefit us so much. And whether he's dealing with trade or with wars, because we're always the world police, the world economy, it's always back on America, 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 right? It's always us. How about some other countries start paying their fair damn share, Marlin?
Yeah, no, 100%. In fact, I was just working here in the office a little bit ago. We've got the bill that we're going to drop that deals with beef, Australian beef, coming to the United States. And the fact is since Mad Cow happened back in, probably 20-some years ago, Australia saw that as an opportunity to stop taking American beef into Australia, but we buy a lot of Australian beef that comes into the United States, and they have an advantage. And so, President Trump's finally saying, hey, you know what? We're saving everybody else's butt around the world, but you're going to take advantage of us and what we pay you for your products. Enough is enough.
I see no problem with it whatsoever. All right, so tariffs are going to work. That's a big thing that Trump's doing this week. There's so many other things. I got at least 2 or 3 more that I want to touch base with you here. Just real quick on the Signalgate scandal and now this new lawsuit with the activist judge Boasberg, the judge that tried to stop President Trump from deporting scumbag gangbangers to El Salvador 2 weekends ago. Look, I had on a former FBI agent last night, Jonathan Gilliam, and I said what I'll say again. Was it a dumb mistake? Yes. If it was a mistake, I don't know that it was. Should we be using Signal? Probably not. Previous administrations used it, though, and that's why they were using it. So this is my take. Don't use it anymore. Life lesson. Thank God nobody got hurt. It was a successful mission. Let's move the hell on. But the Democrats can't do that. We know they want Pete gone. They want Tulsi. They want all this team gone. They never wanted them confirmed. What do you make of the whole scandal? Are they blowing it up bigger than it should be? And should we actually be using the Signal app anymore within the government?
Well, first of all, Democrats don't have anything else to talk about. And so this is the first thing that they have actually tried to make hay out of. And of course, they've got the mainstream media to help them do that. Sure. Was it a mistake? Like you said, it was. And the thing is a real leader will always own up to his mistake and admit it. And Michael Waltz did that. He said it was his mistake. He was embarrassed by it. And I'm sure that President Trump, who is the strongest defender of the United States, militarily, economically, he is going to always look out for America. That's why his America First agenda got him elected in November. And there's nobody else that we have had, I mean, especially over the last 4 years, but whether it's Biden or Obama, has been a stronger defender of the American military and making sure that our men and women are protected. I think that they're blowing this out of proportion. Should they use Signal or not? I think that's something for them to decide. And I'm sure that President Trump, and I know that even Elon Musk is brought into the conversation because—
Right. Elon's going to be investigating, and Marlon, sorry to interrupt. Elon's going to be investigating how this could have happened because from my understanding, and this is the last one I'll ask on this because I got one more big thing I want to talk about with voting rights. This was a female employee working for Mike Waltz, right, who's the national intelligence advisor to the president. And she does have her husband does have some weird ties to some lefties. So people are now throwing her under the bus saying maybe she did it intentionally. I'm not saying that. I'm going back to something Tucker Carlson told me in person, and he said on Fox News about 7-8 years ago, is that he believes the NSA and CIA hacked his Signal, his email, and his text messages. So my point is, couldn't our deep state have hacked Mike's Signal and added that guy's phone number on it so he was giving it to the Atlantic on purpose so that they could have a smoking gun against the administration? Because Tucker claims NSA, CIA can do that. They can get into your Signal account and get messages. Maybe they added that phone number. Maybe that woman didn't do it on accident. Has she come forward and said, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I accidentally put a reporter on this chat? I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah. No, and you know what? I mean, I've put together Signal chats before. In fact, I did it. I texted the wrong person the wrong message the other day. So those things can happen. But this is obviously our national security conversations. And I've got to believe, Michael Waltz, who is a professional, he is a leader. He is going to be sure
too,
that whoever he's communicating, exactly.
Yeah, he's not going to put people in harm's way. Listen, I didn't see combat, but I'm a vet. There's no damn way a combat vet is going to put our boys and girls in harm's way. All right, I'm done talking about that because I'm sick of the left talking about it, Marlon. Did you know that it's racist to ask for voter ID? That's according to this clown on MSNBC. Watch this.
Why do you have to pre-register? Why is that even a thing? It wasn't a thing in this country at the founding. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is? It's because a bunch of freed African slaves were migrating up north, and all of a sudden New York was like, we need some registration up in here, right? A bunch of immigrants from Europe, mainly Ireland and Italy, were coming to New York. People were like, oh, we need some registration in here. If you're eligible to vote, you should be automatically registered to vote, and that is how they do it everywhere else but us.
Yeah, it's racist to ask for ID, Marlon. So the president signed an EO this week requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. What is wrong with saying you have to be a citizen to fricking vote in America, Marlon?
There's no common sense in what that guy was just talking about. I mean, again, he even said that, eligible voters should have the right to vote. Well, it's like, okay, you're eligible because you are a citizen of the United States and because you're registered. And, I mean, some of these states do have same-day registration, and it's a catastrophe because they bus people in from wherever they do a same-day registration drive. And we don't have integrity in elections like that, and we all know it.
So I'm going to end on something fun. This independent reporter, I think his name is Ami Horowitz, he went on the streets of Harlem. First, he asked a whole group of white liberals, and I've chopped this down because it was about a 5-minute segment. It was hilarious. There's a 5-minute segment of white liberals saying it's racist. Then he went to the black neighborhood and asked black folks if it's racist to ask. Watch this, and we'll get your take on the backside.
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware.
Do you have ID normally? Do you carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID.
Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data? You can actually
Unlimited.
Unlimited data.
I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant of.
They're ignorant, and as far as I'm concerned, Marlon, liberal white people are the racists. Few seconds left. You have the final word, Mr. Stutzman.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, talk about elitism. That's what we just saw on those college campuses. And, you know, the fact is they have to go register at their college campus to go to school. You have to register to go to the YMCA to work out. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And I don't even know what to say with some of these people. They're completely out of touch with reality. And they don't even know how to. I mean, what an offense to all of those folks who were interviewed afterwards, that they just assume that they don't even know how to get on the internet or go get a photo ID. It's insulting.
Like I said, Marlon, who are the real racists?
Yeah.
Liberals. Liberal elites
Yes,
are the
they are.
racists. I'm sorry, they are. Marlon, as always, it's so nice to talk to you. You take care.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
You too.